But look at this detail, right? Look at this gap kind of cut, right? This is what we're looking for. So pay attention to here. So we have a shape, then it kind of fades, right? We have a shape, we kind of have this this edge in here, but it just does this, and then here we can create this little kind of gap, right? And this will maybe extending into that, and then here again it just blends, right? And then when you want to indicate that this is indeed, you know, trapezius, and it's really kind of powerful and big, you can tell that this is powerful and big, right? You can tell that this is like he is a very powerful looking guy, obviously, but trapezius here almost disappears completely, right? But because the way it's kind of constructed, visually we almost see where it ends, right? Even though there's nothing very clearly to indicate that this is how it goes, we just by following this line we can see, we can trace it underneath the skin like that, right? And then we see a little bit of a gap in here, and this is where we know the trapezius ends. And this is something that you also should, I would say, just I would recommend do, right? This is something that I also try to do in my personal work. So once I'm kind of established the connection between the muscles, the next thing to do is to make sure that I'm not just kind of hiding everything, but also making sure that the person who is looking at this, they can also see where things are ending, right? So again, look here, things are barely visible when it comes to the trajection of the trapezius, right? But by indicating the muscle in here, it creates immediately a mass, right? A volume, a sense of power, that there is something in here. And then from this line to that, all of this is going to be constructed for us almost inside of our mind, right? And so those kind of little things that you can do, right? It's so instead of everything being kind of equally, let's say, divided like that, right? We can, in some areas, maybe blend them a little bit more with the kind of the skin, something like that, right? Just subtly, still leaving some separation, but very subtle separation. And then somewhere in here we can emphasize the actual kind of separation of things, like that, right? And this will create a more interesting look. This will definitely break this kind of effect where everything is just the same depth, right? The same kind of shape. So this is one of the things that I do, and you can see all of this on the model, right? You can see just how much is hidden in some sense in here, but at the same time, this is deeper, this is deeper, this is deeper, right? This is deeper. So even here, just look at this muscle. So this is skin, right? Because the arms are lowered, so all of this is just skin and kind of blends with the muscle. But look at the muscle, and here we see the separation, right? We see that this border is where kind of the muscle, at least on the surface, kind of ends, right? And then there is the skin, perhaps there is fat, whatever. But look at this detail, right? Look at this gap kind of cut, right? This is what we're looking for. So pay attention to here. So we have a shape, then it kind of fades, right? We have a shape, we kind of have this edge in here, but it just does this, and then here we can create this little kind of gap, right? And this will maybe extending into that, and then here again it just blends, right? Obviously there is still shape in here, but it's not cut out, right? It's kind of blending into the rest of the model. And so this is something that you can also play with, right? Here, yes, we do have a separation of the shape at the top in here, but we can also make it a little bit more kind of visible in here, right? Smooth out, fill in more, smooth out, like that, right? So this way you will have you will have a more kind of interesting look. And I think I've just messed up a little bit, because I don't like this this look that I have now. It's you know, it's almost like some kind of creature almost. There are eyes in here, right? There's eyes in here. There's almost some kind of a nose. It's the reason why I see that is because this detail is very similar to this detail. This detail is very similar to this detail, and this just creates almost a perfect cube, or not cube, but square, right? Which is really, really strange, because you don't have this kind of correlations on the body, right? Here, this is where the gap is, this is where the gap is, this is where the gap is, this is where the gap is. If anything, this creates a trapezius, right? Like that. So this is something that I need to fix. So I would just kind of move out, I suppose, this a bit more, make this a little bit and fill out some of this. So I just decrease the intensity, right, a little bit more.